everybody. Welcome to Let's Flip the Script
with
Raven, Peapod,
and Pop Cove.
Hey everybody, this is Peapod. Welcome to episode 3 of Let's Flip the Script. This week we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies. It's called Limitless, and it came out in 2018, and it stars Bradley Cooper as Eddie Morra, a struggling writer who has a book contract but hasn't written one word of his novel. And he runs into an old friend at a restaurant who gives him a little clear pill that he says lets him access 100% of his brain. Now, Eddie takes this pill, and not only does it let him access more of his brain, but it puts him in contact with a world he never imagined. He goes from being a no-name writer to like the darling of the financial world almost overnight. And my twist on this movie would be he takes the pill, and at a certain point in the movie, he becomes the ideal person that he wanted to be. My flip would have been he would have become that earlier. Like, if I had written this script, so I don't know if I'm going to give too much away, but he takes the pill and it lets him access a lot of his brain. Instead of doing things that would make sense to a normal person, like I would probably play the lottery and win millions of dollars. I would probably write 6 or 7 novels right away and get them published and make lots of money. I would start writing lyrics and getting paid for, like, stuff that people get paid and get millions of dollars for. Now, he didn't do any of that like right away. He waited until like it was almost too late to start like trying to make his future better. So that's how I would have flipped the script just immediately. Like, I would have been thinking far ahead right away. If I had something to let me access 100% of my brain, I would not be going to clubs and dancing, and I would be thinking of ways to make money or make the world better right from Jump Street. So he might have ended up along that path later on in the movie, but I think he should have gotten there sooner, given like the opportunity he had, like, to take this pill, and literally he could have changed the entire world, like, from the beginning.
Well, I kind of disagree with you, because I think he did do that, but the problem was, and I wrote it in my notes, he got too damn greedy. Because from the very beginning, when he takes the pill, he goes back to his apartment and he's like out of control, cleaning, because his place is a mess. Mm-hmm. I mean, but like, he goes into like boost mode. He's cleaning, everything's good. He's like, okay, let me write this book. He starts writing. He did. He started writing the book, like the first few pages, mm-hmm. and then he dropped them off, and he was like, if you like them, I can finish it. If you don't, I'll give back the advance that you gave me. So once the person, says that she likes it, she can't put it down, he finishes the book. That was his first thing. He did something. He completed that task. I don't think, did he finish the book?
He did.
He finished it within a matter of days.
He sent her a few pages where he wrote them
initially.
I'm getting
confused. Right. Oh, he
waited for her reaction.
He was reading the manuscripts for that other man, those company things. He didn't analyze.
Yeah, that was something else.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
Okay, so he did do that, mm-hmm. and then.
But I said I would have written lots of books.
Well, true, but then you said he wasn't trying to make money. Yeah, he was, but he was doing it playing the market, which was something that you need your analytical brain skills to see where the market mm-hmm. is going and be able to predict and then make the money, which is why he was able to make millions mm-hmm. of dollars in such a short period of time. But where he made the mistake was he got too greedy. He was making like $2,000, $3,000 a day, but he wasn't happy with that.
Right.
Any normal person would be happy with that. Don't rush it, because then other people are going to be like, how is he able to do this? What's going on?
Yeah,
which is exactly what happened. And then other bigwigs wanted to know, how is this guy able to make millions of dollars within mm-hmm. a few months? Like, what does he know that we don't mm-hmm. know? So he basically exposed himself to other people who were very curious about how he was getting this done because of his greed, mm-hmm. So then once you get locked in with these people who are involved in God knows what, kinds of crimes.
Well,
behind the
actually,
scenes.
you're right, but that's not how that happened. He needed more capital because he was making.
No,
that's how
he
got
didn't
involved
need
with
it
that.
right away.
But-
He wanted
right,
it.
right,
That's
right.
There's
Well,
a
that's true.
difference.
He
there.
wanted it, yeah.
He wanted
Mhm.
it. He could have continued for, let's say, half a year.
Yeah.
Constantly
Building
doing
it
what
up.
he was already doing with the market and making 2,000 to 3,000 every other
Mhm.
day. He would have eventually got there, but he was greedy and he wanted it quick.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, I need this much money so I can do this now. But he could have waited and got that done, but in a longer period of time.
See,
Yeah.
see, what I'm saying to me is, yeah, if I had a pill that let me access 100% of my brain, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't wait. Like I said, I would write
I would
12
wait.
novels. I would write a whole bunch of songs. Like I would write stuff.
Right,
that-
I would have done the artistic
Yeah.
things, but as far as the money, I would have taken it slow because you don't want other people to then know how you're doing this or want to know how you're doing it, because then that's when things go wrong, which is what happened to Eddie.
All right, so the thing that I would have changed, and to me, this is where he went wrong. If he had, in my opinion, done this, he would, in my opinion, have been fine. He took one pill and that changed his life. For whatever reason that he really doesn't clearly explain, for some reason, this goofball decided to take more and more. That one pill changed his life.
Greed.
If he had stayed with one pill a day, to me, then he wouldn't have had the extreme negative side effects that he had from this pill. So the fact that he just did not allow himself to stay with one pill a day, that spiraled into all these horrible, this
Hallucinations
downfall
and
that
things.
he experienced because of him not being satisfied with the gifts that he had been given with just the one pill. And I told Peapod this also, that if he had just, and I don't even care about him borrowing money from a bad guy, him doing, trying to get money, a large sum of money so that he can make money, that's fine, because he can get the money to make the money back to pay the guy. I
No,
don't have
because even that didn't work
hold
out
on,
for
Because he
him.
didn't
Hold on.
pay him back.
Hold on, that's I'm just saying, he could have gotten that loan, made the money like he did, and paid him back. That's his problem that he didn't pay him back.
No,
so
he
I
did.
don't.
But you guys are forgetting. He did eventually pay
Yeah,
him back.
eventually.
But the guy wanted more.
Yeah.
Because he said, how are you doing this? He caught on. He was like, it was as if he exposed too much to the wrong people.
Well-
and then of course those people are going to be like, wait a minute. If you're able to do, that's why the guy said, nuh-uh. Okay, this is good, but I want more interest. He's a criminal. Of course he wants more interest.
But let me get back to what I was saying. The second thing where he went wrong, in my opinion, is he was about to, with Robert De Niro, make the deal of his life that would have had
40
him
million
actually
a
set
year
for
or
life,
whatever.
where he actually wouldn't even need to take another pill, wouldn't need to do anything. Where he went wrong in this movie, where I would have changed it, is him going out that night, instead of taking his butt home and studying those portfolios like he was supposed to do so he could be prepared for the meeting the next day with Robert De Niro, and have everything down pat, because obviously that's what this pill was allowing him to do, which he couldn't do, as you guys saw when the effects of the pill wore off. He didn't need that. All that stuff looked foreign to him. If he had went home that night instead of wandered for
He wanted to take a walk.
the whole night and had his whole life changed with all these crazy events that happened that night, if he had just gone home and studied those portfolios, he would be set for life, and his life would have been, off the chain from that point on. So to me, just taking the one pill a day and staying home and doing what he was supposed to do, he would have been set for life. So those two mistakes drastically, it was a downward spiral for him from that point on. So to me,
I kind of disagree, because I think you're forgetting the part where the deal he was going to make with Robert De Niro, it still ended up where he was working for him, making money. But that deal was all based on them coming to a bigger deal with that other businessman.
Yeah, but
who
he had to
ended
study,
up being
right?
sick because he was out of pills. So that guy who kept following him around, the guy who kept following Eddie around, worked for that other businessman. I think you guys are forgetting that. So either way it was slicing, he was doomed, because they wanted the pills that he still had.
Yeah, but he wasn't doomed if he had just taken one pill a day. He would have had enough and then another thing, now that I'm thinking about it, if he hadn't put all those pills in his pocket, and in his tailor-made suit where he had that pocket sewn in, if he had enough sense to maybe put 2 or 3 in that pocket and then hide the other ones in a safe. So those are actually the 3 things that I think where he went wrong majorly in this movie, where if he hadn't done those things, he would have been set for life. But yeah, to me I still say the fact that he wandered off for that whole night and had that crazy downward, that spiral where he met that girl in the hotel and he killed, I don't know what happened to her, but he was there when she died, and all these other things where he had to fight with all these people in the subway. So if he had stayed home, studied the portfolio, and been prepared for that meeting, because remember, the guy called him the next day and said, I don't care if you're sick or not, get down here and come to this meeting. He went to the meeting. He actually looked at the portfolio before. He couldn't, and it was like reading Chinese. Right. So he couldn't, it made no sense to him. He went to the meeting, and he sat there looking dumb because he really couldn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. So again, in my opinion, if he actually went home, so those are the 3 things.
Didn't ruin the deal with Robert De Niro, though. He ended up going outside and throwing up because he saw that girl on the TV had died, and then he took off. So, but even after that, he still ended up working with Robert De Niro. So that didn't really ruin it.
It changed a lot of things. It changed everything.
Because I think Robert De Niro knew what he knew he was taking that clear pill, because he was like, that guy Atwood, he was like, how do you think he went from a nobody to like somebody?
Right, because overnight? He was like, what do you know about him? In the beginning when he first met with him, he's like, what do you know about him? And then when he came in, even Eddie observed, look at how sick he was. Like, what? All of a sudden, like, this guy looks like he's dying. Like, So even in all of his high perceptive brain waves, he didn't like put it together that this guy was like,
right. He didn't know until he started like figuring out like the people on that, whoever that list he was calling, like trying to figure out what happened to this guy, what happened to this guy, and then he turned around and he called, and the guy sitting next to him on the phone like, oh, this is one of those guys that have been on this just like I have. So,
and like his ex-wife.
Yeah. Now, to me, what I didn't understand too, what I would have flipped the script was like, when you're taking this pill, right, and it gives you access to 100% of your brain, why wouldn't you be thinking like, why wouldn't you think sooner, let me figure out a way to, number one, manufacture this for myself, like he did that later on.
Yeah.
Let me make 1 million more of these pills, like if you were going to go that way. But then 2, if you were going to do that, then think about, if you got access to 100% of your brain, think about right now, like, wait a minute, how can I alter this so that I don't need this
But that
anymore?
also shows you that for every person who took the pill, their thinking was different. It was in heightened, but it was different because the guy that he owed money to is the one who gave him the idea that it could be injected into the bloodstream. And that was, I wrote it here, the nastiest scene in the movie when he was laying on the floor next to him and licked up that blood. I was like, oh my God, I want to throw up right now. That was so gross.
But would you do it if that was your only?
Probably not, because I can't even look at blood. I'm like one of those squeamish, you know how I am with like even getting blood at the doctor's office.
Wow, so you're saying these 3 people are invaded your home and this guy's like, I'm going to slice
I probably would have jumped off that thing before he got to me. Because I was like, this is crazy. I was thinking, why didn't he take the pill as soon as he got home and they started banging on the door?
I wouldn't have been. He had to look for it. Remember, he was like, do I have 1 pill
No,
left
but he
somewhere?
wasted a lot of time
right away
looking for, before he started looking for it.
Yeah, he was like just standing out there.
Yeah, he was standing on the ledge
about life
thinking,
or whatever.
oh,
like,
because he didn't. In his panic, he was thinking, "I'm not gonna let them get me. Am I gonna jump off this roof?" But then in the back of his mind, it said, "Wait, there's 1 pill somewhere in this house." So then he ran back in. He was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take my chance." But he ended up not even using that one, right? So
because he dropped it,
right? Yeah. But I'm like, why wouldn't you think of that in the beginning? Like, how do I make it so I don't need the pill anymore? To me, that makes sense.
But you answered your own question. I think he thought about, like most people, like when let's say, first of all, I'm going to ask you guys a question that I want you to answer that obviously relates to the movie. But I think to answer your question, when you have access to something that you've never had access to before, you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about, I can see clear colors, I can hear sounds 1,000 miles away.
No, because my first thought would have been,
you. That's not most people.
This bag of pills only has like 60 in there. These are gonna run out eventually.
That's not most people. So.
Even if it had 600, it looked like it had.
I'm just saying, he did think about that in the end, and we know that because we saw that in the movie.
Like, I'm not
but I don't think your initial reaction, especially most people, because they are just thinking, oh, I can, buy some more from whoever I got them from in the first place, is, ooh, I only got one, I better go try to figure out how. I'm just saying, I don't think somebody who's just seeing this and experiencing this, it's almost like, when you take, and I wouldn't know, but crack or LSD for the first time. You're not thinking, oh, how can I go make some of this on my own? You're just thinking about.
But see, that don't let you access 100%
I'm just saying,
of your brain.
It just gives you a
I'm just saying that you get all of these strange emotions, and your senses are heightened. And that's just not the thing that you're thinking about. Let me go, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you can't say that's not what you're thinking about, because that's what that loan shark thought about.
Okay.
And he developed a way to
that's after the fact.
Different.
He didn't do it right away when he first got the pill. He didn't do that right away.
As a drug user, he had that experience.
Yeah,
in his
that
real
was
life
his
too.
mindset.
So sometimes
the drug does. I think
experiences you have in life.
It's
also
your
play a part,
intelligence.
'cause you said everybody's different.
Yeah.
And so when he's like, man, it gets to your brain much quicker. You inject it. And he was like, I'm thinking of getting out of the killing business. He was like, I'm going to become an importer exporter.
Right.
Like, that's where his mind was taking him, instead of like, I want to take over the world or anything. He want to become an importer exporter. But this guy, who is an esoteric thinker, he's reading all these books, and so he had a different mindset about what he want to do.
And I think it's that way for everybody. It's whatever your interests and your life, worldviews are. That's where the drug will take you if you want it to go there. Like, some people don't care about curing cancer. They don't care about world peace. They don't care about
thinking of that kind of stuff.
Coming up with all these answers to problems that people have dealt with for years. They just are thinking about
because it comes back to what I said. He was greedy. He was selfish and greedy. Once he got his life back to some sort of normal, success, he didn't care about anything else. He wanted to keep that success going. He wasn't thinking he wasn't even thinking about the girlfriend.
No, I think he was. At a certain point, he did. When he went on that excursion, he was like, "Oh, look, I met some friends. They're gonna fly me to the Bahamas or wherever they went." When he was standing on that cliff, and they were like, "Are you nuts? Is he gonna jump off this cliff?" He jumped off the cliff, and then he fell in the water. And when he came back up, he was like, that's when I had a different idea about what I can do, or what's possible with this. And that's when he started
what he could do for himself.
No, he was like, he had a paradigm shift. Like, this drug can be more than just like satisfaction to me. Like, he had bigger ideas. I can literally change the world, the landscape that we're living in. Like, he's like, this drug with the right person and with the right mindset, I can change the world. And so then probably that's when he's formulating, like, I need to figure out how to make this a permanent alteration to my brain, like, instead of something that I have to take or risk losing again.
But here's another question. Do you believe what he was saying at the end, saying that he was off of it?
Yeah, I do, because he was smart enough to come and figure it out. Like, figure out not only how to suppress the negative effects of it, but how to make himself so smart that he wouldn't have to need it anymore.
Right.
I
believe he said, I'm 50 steps
I
ahead
love
of you
the scene at the end with
I did too, but I
love
like the fact that you don't know for sure 100% that he was telling the truth, because he even said, oh, we shut down your lab. And he said, but what makes you think that I wasn't smart enough to have 3 or 4 labs?
He's just posing the question. He's telling Carl, or whatever, I think his name was Carl, his limited, he's like, you're so limited. But anyway, that's like basic. Like, what makes you think I'm on this, I have access to 100% of my brain? What makes you think I wouldn't have 5 labs? But I don't need it anymore. I'm gonna let you know, you're saying your thinking is limited. Mine is, I figured a way for me to not even have to need a lab, son. So you talking about something, you don't want to fight against me. No, you don't want to fight against me because I'm already 50 steps
to
ahead.
me, I mean, if
you can't catch up.
How can you fake that? If you need the pill, then
right?
Because he bought the company, he bought that company that's making the pill. So he gonna, if he was faking it, he would actually eventually need De Niro.
No, he wouldn't because he had started making his own pill.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you said, how do we know he's not lying about not needing De Niro? That's why I said
no, not about needing De Niro. That wasn't my question. My question was, do you think he was lying about not needing the pill anymore?
Right.
Well,
I think he was off it. Like he told him, I'm off it. I'm already off it. And matter of fact, let me tell you, you need to be on it. Because I can tell right now your heart is weak and your muscles is weak or whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now, this car finna crash right here because this man 5 miles away, but I see him on his phone. Like he was already like, bro, you can't do nothing for me no more. He was like, have a nice lunch.
Yeah, because he thought he was going to have him under his thumb.
Right.
Forever.
Right. And that's how you played it out because he thought he was like, let's go out to lunch. So he's like, let me see. Let me humor this man. Let me walk down to the limo and everything. So he's like, get in. Like you telling me something. He was like, bye.
And you almost think by his smart aleck speech
like he's got him.
He got him. But then this guy comes back with his clever,
like, let me walk
his clever response.
Well, I wasn't thinking that he had him because I knew that he had already been working in the lab on making his own pill. He paid that guy $2 million to do it. So I was like, why would he need him?
Am I not mistaken? Isn't that the same lab De Niro just said he bought?
Yeah.
No, he didn't say he bought. He said De Niro's company was the lab that was already making it when the brother-in-law gave him the pill.
Well, either way,
that's what he was saying. He said that he knew that Eddie had opened a lab with a guy working on the pill for him, and he said, I shut your lab down. But he still had his drug company that was making the pill. So he was saying, you're going to need me because I still got the pill and my company's making it.
And he was like, well, we won't never stop your supply. We'll keep you on it nice and steady. So, and he was like, I don't need it. So I don't need it. You need it.
Yeah, but for me, it was a question like, does he still need it or not? Because I'm thinking, was he able to develop something that got him off of it?
Yeah, I think
it's possible. But I knew that he had labs working on his own version of it, because remember he kept saying when the sister-in-law told him, when you keep taking it so much, then you start to deteriorate, and if you don't get it, then your body is just done. So he was like, ooh, this is not good. Let me develop something that's better where this won't happen.
Right.
I figured he had done that, but that he still needed it.
Yeah, I think he was true. To me, yeah. I see what you're saying, but I think he was honest when he was saying, no, I'm not on it anymore, Carl, so...
It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah. And now, here's my question for you guys.
Wait, but remember I said I had a question for you guys. I don't think you guys answered it. The question is, or maybe I didn't ask it.
Would we take the pill?
Would you take it? Would you take it?
That was what I was going to ask.
Since I don't take drugs, no.
So even if somebody said to you, this will change your life. You know how you've been complaining about...
But how can you trust it if somebody's just telling you?
So you wouldn't even want to...
I'm not a very trusting person, so I'd be like, get those drugs out of here. I don't believe a word you're saying.
Well,
let's say they took it and it changed their life, and you see that it changed their life. Would you do it?
And there's drugs you take, medicines that you take. You might take it once to see.
You see that it has, like, they went from poor to excessively,
yeah, but wealthy. How can I determine that it was the pill that did it? I don't know for sure that it was just the pill. I'm just a very skeptical person, so I probably wouldn't believe them.
Peapod, would you take it?
I probably would, because I'm the kind of person who wants to have 100% access to my brain, and I would take it with the same thing I've been saying while I was here, like. Hindsight is 20/20. Of course, we've seen the movie and we saw like the different possibilities. So if I was presented with that same thing now, I would take it knowing that one, I'm going to design a way for me to be off it and still access 100% of my brain. Two, I'm going to write 200 books and all of them going to be bestsellers.
But it's not a guarantee that you would have the knowledge or the brain capacity to develop a method where you could wean yourself off of it.
That's true, but I would read books. Like he was very well read.
Like he didn't know anything about the financial industry.
He read about cancer and everything else. That's why he's telling his mom and dad, Gertrude needs to be on proenzyme 683 or whatever, because this is whatever. So if NZT48 was presented to me, I would take it, and then you can always read all. But now you have the capacity to not only read every book you want to read.
But who would have to present this to you where you would believe that this was truly the effect that you would get from this pill?
It would have to be.
Even if one of you came and said, hey, take this pill, Pop Cove, it's going to change your life, I'd be like, Girl, where you get this pill from?
You're skeptical. We're talking about in an ideal world where you would take it. I don't know.
No, that's not what she said. She didn't say in an ideal world. She's talking about right now.
Yeah, because the pill doesn't exist. So I'm like saying, like if it existed, I can't tell you under what scenario I would. I'm just saying from my perspective, having seen this movie with that kind of possibility, I would be like, yeah, I would try it because I want to have.
Well, but you're saying yes based on what has happened in the film. My answer was based on me as a human being without seeing this movie and knowing what could or couldn't happen.
Well, if I had never seen the movie, my answer would be no, because I'd be like, why am I taking this strange pill? Like, you know, but sometimes movies present to you scenarios that you don't even understand or know to think about. So then once you see it, you can be like, well, if I was in that position, would I do that? Yeah. So based on the movie and I saw what was possible, like if it was presented to me in real life, I would probably take the chance and take the pill and have 100% access to my brain and change my life and everybody else's. So
I'm going to answer the question like she did based on us actually seeing the movie. My answer would be no. Because I'm probably even more skeptical than you are. And I have to know what I'm taking. I got to know what's in it. I have to know what the effects are, the side effects. And if I don't know any of those things, I am not putting anything in my mouth willingly that I don't know what it is I'm taking. So my answer
what was crazy was, the Russian guy, whoever he was, Scandinavian, he grabbed it out of his hand. He's like,
this is the craziest
that could have been
thing
poison.
ever.
He don't know.
Oh, what's this?
And he just threw it.
And then did you see how he looked at him? He was like, you just took one of my life. His look was priceless. He was like, no, you didn't just take that pill.
And that was one of the biggest mistakes, letting him take that.
Well,
he already had a problem with him over the money.
Yeah.
So this, on top of that, was like the downfall. And I'm thinking, okay, you have all this money. There's no way he couldn't get away from him, where he couldn't find where he lived.
How is it that this thug killed his two?
And that they knew to bring a saw to saw the door down?
Yeah, Ravens. Her question was, how did they even know where this guy was? Like, how did they know where he lived?
And how is it that they outsmarted his two professional bodyguards to be able to, these are just neighborhood thugs.
But he was on NZT, and the bodyguards weren't.
I know that. But I'm just saying, I felt like that part of the storyline, and we, I've talked about this before, how a person can be in pursuit of somebody else, and they can be 20 yards away, and they can always find exactly where they are. Or they can always catch up to them, So it's just like one of those things where, to me, that part was a little bit unrealistic, where this guy was able to, outsmart him.
And she was also saying, well, where are the neighbors? But I was like, in this,
he was the neighbor
down
right over there.
Right, but I mean, you would think that somebody would have called 911, the security in the building. Somebody would have called down.
Security guards.
But I mean, I don't know. I just felt like all that loud noise they were making, the police should have been called right away. They should have
before they got through his door.
Yeah, because it took a good, 5-10 minutes to get through the door.
And in all that, he didn't have a panic room?
That's what I said that. I'm like, how
crazy. This is like
that was like the most
how much
secure,
was that place? $8 million?
And it was supposed to be one of the most secure places that he
But they weren't anticipating that.
Yeah, but still, it should have come with a panic room.
Right.
But somehow, some way, they would have gotten into that too. So,
but see, now there was a situation even with his girlfriend. See, she ended up having to take. Yeah. Now, here's what I want to ask you guys too. Do you think she was on NCT at the end? Because when they ended up in that restaurant, both of them looked different, different somehow.
There's a huge possibility because she had already taken it.
That he had weaned himself off, then he probably weaned her off too, and found a way.
Because she already took it, and she
right. But then she was like, I don't want to,
you can say that now until you take the stuff. But I was
thinking at the end, I was like, I bet you she.
I think so. I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility,
even though
believability, because I think she took it and she got the effect. She felt it. So if he could do that for himself and make it so that he's not addicted or he doesn't have any negative effects, he could certainly do it for her. So I think so.
Yeah.
So if you were the girlfriend, you still wouldn't take it?
If I was about to get stabbed by a criminal, yes, I would take it.
Wait a minute, but you just said that would be the house, you would jump off the roof.
Well, they were like,
well, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going.
I don't know if I would jump off that building because that would scare me too. That was just a quick response. But I don't know if I'd let them just cut me up right there either.
I would do the blood
in
thing,
her
even though I
case,
wouldn't want
where
to.
she was running from this person that she just saw brutally murder
Yeah.
somebody, I would take that pill and jump over those rocks and
anyway,
across.
This is what I hate too. We were talking about it. Like he's like, just take the pill. Like, how many times do you have to tell somebody take the pill? And she's like, what? He's like, just take it. It'll let you know everything you need to do. Meanwhile, the guy's like coming closer and closer.
But I would have been like her too. Like, why would I take this? And I just saw you faint in my office.
Yeah, but because
dying.
he needed, not because it did it, because he needed.
Exactly.
But
so
like,
she's thinking, if I take this, am I gonna end up like
she
her?
took it, didn't she?
I'm like,
well, yeah, because it was life or death.
You don't have to keep telling me no 30 times. I hate when they have to tell somebody 30 times, like, can you just leave, get out of the house, walk down the street, call 911 or whatever. Like, just take it and then find out later. Just take it now. Just take it. But yeah,
so
well, it was I thought it was a great. The question itself is, to me, was phenomenal. Like, if you could access 100% of your brain, would you? Even if it was.
Well, I would want to do that, but without a drug.
I was just going to say,
but we can't do it without a drug.
Well, that's
you
what
don't
you
know
said.
that.
I would
Y'all
like
working
to.
with 3% now.
So what?
As
well as most of the world. I would just say that I would do it without, if it didn't involve a dangerous drug that I don't know what's in it and I don't know what the side effects are. So if there were a way that his character could, now sell it and then prove to the world, because I think he's come up with a way.
I don't think you want everybody in the world on that.
But no,
you don't want everybody to be.
I just said
the FDA, like that guy said, will never approve it.
Well, he claimed it was. We know he was lying. But I'm just saying, if it was legal, and people wanted to take it, obviously it's by choice. Then I might think about it.
It wouldn't even be that way because you
don't
don't want everybody to be able to access.
Why? I mean, who made you? Why not?
Because then, you end up with
superhumans
all over the place, and then you
what's
end
wrong with
up
that?
with evil humans.
No, now you're
you're gonna handpick the people you want to get involved.
Who gets to be the judge?
No, because that's where the big problem comes in.
Yeah, right, but guess what? You wouldn't be picked.
Gonna be.
You wouldn't be picked.
Well, if it was left up to somebody, I'm saying if I was presented with the opportunity, so like, how did Eddie Morra's brother-in-law get picked? We don't know. So he ended up with this drug, though,
I'm
and
just
he
saying
chose
it has
so
been
I could have
tweaked.
a friend who choose me.
I'm just saying after it's been tweaked and they've made all the right changes to it so it doesn't negatively affect you, then why are you saying only certain people should be allowed to access?
If I had access to 100% of my brain and using this thing, and I figured out how to get it so that I don't need it anymore, I'm not giving it to just any and everybody just because they want it. I'm going to pick and choose who I give it to.
Isn't this the anti-argument that she just made in our other review about vibranium in the other review?
No,
you're saying that everybody should have. Why should only some people own or possess that, and everybody should have access to it?
Because I said vibranium landed on the planet. It from outer space. Nobody invented it.
We don't know where the pill came
in the
from.
U.S. It landed.
We don't know where the pill came from. We just know that somebody.
But we know it was created in the lab.
I don't know that.
Okay, and if I tweak it to where I don't need it, then that's me. The pill can still exist, like Carl had his lab making. They can.
So then that pill that somebody's making in their lab, do you think anybody and everybody should have access to that? Not the one that you tweaked for yourself and made great.
What he do with his pills is his business.
But I'm asking you, well, we could say the same thing about vibranium.
But vibranium doesn't belong to Wakanda. It happened, it fell there.
But what I'm saying is to you, the people that are creating that in that lab, do you think they should have a say as to who gets it, or should anybody that can afford it be able to buy it?
It depends on what they want to sell it for and who they want to market it to.
So then anybody should have access to it. Anybody that can afford it.
If that's what they want, if that's the pill they created or whatever.
No, but we're saying because you are the one that just said you would limit access.
I said if I tweaked my brain to the point where I don't need the pill, and I know how to do that for somebody else, I'm going to choose whoever I give that ability to. If he's over here still making those pills, those are his pills. Carl ain't stopping him.
So
Eddie wasn't stopping him from making pills.
Now here's my
he
next
just said, I
question
don't
to
need
you.
him anymore.
What would be the determining factor
Now,
for you?
now, come on. Now, I
you
wouldn't know
said
that.
it.
I wouldn't know. It would have to be somebody that has the same sort of morals as me, that I think would not be putting any negative influence in the world. Because like they say, with great power comes great responsibility.
That is good, but that turns out to be bad.
Exactly. If
Well, I
they
mean,
get access,
okay,
then now you giving this to somebody who thought was good.
That's you can't control. But if I'm Eddie and I can see 50 steps ahead, then I would already know. So
Eddie didn't see 50 steps ahead that he was going to end up killing that woman in the hotel room and fighting with a million guys.
Yeah, but
on the street.
he hadn't tweaked his brain that much at that point. Nah, that he was still taking the pills 1, 2, 3, 4 at a time. So he had limited access to whatever. His brain wasn't permanently tweaked. He wasn't seeing 50 steps ahead. So his brain was accessing everything from his past, everything he ever remembered. That's how he knew how to do kung fu, because he saw a movie on it at that point. It wasn't like projecting towards the future, which is what it was doing when he tweaked it. He was just accessing everything he already knew, like everything from the moment you were born that you think you forgot, you didn't notice, all of that he had access to. But that was limited. Now he was limitless, because now he was seeing 50 steps ahead, not 50 steps behind. So it's different. And I would think if I'm seeing 50 steps ahead, then I know not to give it to you if you're going to end up being like a despot, and you're going to.
But how do you know that
I
the
don't
person
think you
is
can
going
see
to
into the future.
end
You
up
might know
being
the
that?
person's
You don't know.
personality. You might know their frame of mind, but I don't think you can see into the future with the drug. He just knows logically. Yeah, this person is on the phone and they're driving.
No, that's not logic. Like,
It
that
is
person
logic.
was
Yes, it
all the
is.
way
It is
down there
logic.
somewhere.
He's
was
not
like,
seeing into the
he's
future.
like, this. That was into the future.
No, it
He can
wasn't.
see.
Yeah, it
no,
was.
No,
He said
He was just being ultra perceptive. His what do you call it?
No,
his brain function was heightened, so
50
everything
I
he's
don't
able
think he
to
can predict the
deduce.
future.
He's able to
50
deduce that if
steps
this guy
ahead.
is on his phone and he's going
Yeah.
75 miles per hour, this taxi is about to drop
but
somebody
how
off.
But we
He's
don't know
not
that
paying
because we
attention.
can't see that.
How did he
We can't
deduce
see
about
that.
Carl's heart? All he did was put his hand on his chest.
and
he
maybe
said,
he can.
"Oh, you
he can feel that beat.
Come on,
He
he's
can-
like,
no.
you got clogged arteries. This,
'Cause he
that,
can
that.
feel the
You're not
beat.
going to even be here in 2 years. You sure
He
I
can
got to
feel the
worry
beat.
about you or whatever?" So
And
No.
I don't think he can predict the future.
No, he
though.
couldn't predict the future.
I don't think so.
No,
I
he
think
couldn't.
so. I think he could see far enough ahead where he could anticipate the future. But that's me. That's not.
But that's like from that show, Sherlock Holmes. He deduces. He's like,
Yeah, but he
if
uses
this and this line up, then
ratiocination.
this is the ultimate outcome.
But that doesn't tell me. Oh, I can see your third valve right here just by touching you. It's clogged. You need surgery. You know that doesn't tell you that. Ratiocination.
he knows he's a man of a certain age.
Yeah, but
he's
he
been
can be
around him
super
enough
healthy.
to know
He can
what
be
he
super
has been
healthy.
eating.
But
he
now
could
we
have been on a
speculating.
strict diet, and then he probably saw that his heart was
speculating.
beating out of control.
Yeah, I think he just felt the beat.
You don't feel no clogged arteries just because you feel somebody's heartbeat.
That was just him, like, giving
Yeah, he
his
could have maybe
sarcasm.
just been. Yeah, I think.
I
so.
think the point of the movie being called Limitless is
You don't get to
alluding
see into the future.
You don't
That's
know
not
that.
what
That-
I
you
don't think
know
that's
what the-
what
I
the
didn't
movie
You
get
don't
is
know
saying.
what he tweaked the pill to be, or tweaked his. But everybody has their own opinion. I think you can get to a point where you can see into the future. Yeah.
I
No,
don't. But that's my
I
opinion.
think the whole point of the movie was that that drug alters the brain so that you're using it at the highest function possible. And if we all did that, like when I'm driving with Micah, I don't have any abilities, but I know I'm very perceptive. I'll be like, "Watch, Micah, this is about to happen." And he'll be like, how did you know that, Mommy? I said, because that person was about to step off onto the curb and this person next to me was speeding next to me.
Okay,
so,
yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? If you're super perceptive
you,
all the time at a heightened level, you can deduce when something is going to happen.
I mean that, and in a very limited way. Otherwise, people can say, "Oh, I'm clairvoyant and this or that." Yeah, because they're probably guessing. But there's no point to having a limitless pill if all you're doing is like super guessing. Like everybody can super
Limitless
guess.
doesn't mean you can see into the future. It
Right.
just means that you're hyper intelligent.
To you guys, to
Like
me,
your
it's
brain
different.
has no limit to what
Right.
it can do.
Right.
But there's nothing that says the brain
You don't
can
have
see into the
superpowers
future.
just
You
because
don't
you're-
get
But how do you know
powers.
that's a superpower? Just because we don't have access to 100% of our brain, so we don't know what it's capable of.
I don't.
If you have access into 100% of your brain, you might be able to see into the spiritual world. You don't know. Because we don't have access to it. No.
Right. I mean, you can project and say all that. But
Yeah,
you don't,
that's what I'm
like you
saying.
said, we don't know. So I'm gonna say I don't think even if we did have 100% access that we could see into the spirit world or project and and see what's gonna happen in the future. That's just my personal opinion. Can we be super duper intelligent? Can we be super duper articulate? Can we be smarter than we ever imagined? I would agree. Yeah, I think we can. But I don't think we're going to have superhuman abilities
Right.
just because we access every part
I
of
didn't
our
say
brain.
superhuman abilities.
But being able to see into the future is
No, that's just because
superpower.
we're
It's
limited.
not like-
No, that's because we're limited, and we think it's a superpower because we don't have access to that.
Well,
we don't know.
So what if if I say we can't fly and you're saying if you had access to 100% of your brain, you should be able to fly flapping your arms because we now have access to all of our brain?
That's not what I'm saying. But like, if you were,
There are things you
don't
can't
know
do
what
that
you-
just because you
Right,
have
you
access
don't- but
to
you
all of
don't
your
know,
brain, that
you
doesn't
don't
mean that
know.
you can do it.
You
You
don't
can't-
know.
you can't,
You can tap into your brain and figure out how to create something that people can attach
Create,
to
but
their
you
skin.
can't
Yeah,
just-
they
you
already
can't just
have.
fly. You
It's
can't
called
just fly.
a parachute.
You can't just fly
you
just
don't
because
fly.
you
You're
have.
just floating down to the earth. You're not flying. You don't have any.
Well, there's hang gliding.
You're not.
You
flying.
can't just float into the air just because you have 100% access to. So
But
to
there's
me,
people
those are
that say they
superpower
levitate
things.
now, though.
That's what they say. That doesn't mean that it's happening.
Right.
It may be happening in their mind. That doesn't mean it's happening for real.
But
you
we're talking
seen-
about the freeing up of your mind. Yeah, it's in their
No,
mind.
but we're also talking about you're saying that there are things that you can do beyond that are
I'm just-
above and
I'm
beyond
just
what human
speculating. I'm
beings.
speculating, and it's okay to speculate.
Well,
I'm
yeah, but
saying
it doesn't
in
sound like
my
you're speculating.
world. Yeah, it is because it's a movie. So I'm saying in my world, if limitless means if you tweaked your brain that much where you can see 50 steps ahead, you can see into the future. You can project and predict it. So that's me. Not just by like natural observation, because to me that didn't
That
seem
is
like
what it was.
to
It
me
was
that is-
natural
to me that is-
observation.
it
But
wasn't
because
what
he
it
was at such a heightened level, he was able to see everything around him and predict
And
that
see
this
in
would
him.
be the outcome. He didn't see anything in him. He felt the man's chest.
You ain't
and
feeling
felt
nobody.
his
Your
heartbeat.
arteries is clogged, Carl. You no. I mean,
Again,
I think
like-
it could be a combination of both perception and clairvoyance, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't think the
To
pill
me.
makes you clairvoyant. I think it just
No, the
makes
pill
your
does
brain-
not. But he does not. He wasn't on the pill anymore at that point. His brain was free.
I
from
don't
needing
think the
that.
limitless pill gives you superhuman abilities.
The pill
That's what I-
did not
that's
make
what I
him
personally
limitless.
believe.
It just gave him 100% access to his brain. He made himself limitless by what he did between taking the pill and becoming, and then being able to change the formula to the point where he don't need
he took
the
the
pill
pill, right?
anymore.
So it was the pill.
He
You
took
can
the-
you can attribute it to the pill. If
Right.
he just because he might have wanted to do all these things on his own without taking the pill, and he would not have been able to do it. So it's because of the pill that he was able to access all those parts of his brain and
Yeah,
be able
but
to
he
do all
had
the
to
things that he
use
did.
it. Just because
Yeah,
you
but it
might
was
have a
because of
whole
the
bunch
pill.
of weapons in here, but if you don't know how to use it, it's
Even
not
in
gonna
the
do you
movie, I wrote down in my notes, the drug makes you feel ultra perceptive, high functioning, and enhanced. It doesn't give you any other abilities. You're using what you already have, but it's
At that
its
point.
highest level.
Up until
But it
that
doesn't give
certain
you
point.
anything beyond that.
Right, up until a certain point, because he got to a point where he did not need that
Yeah,
pill
because
anymore.
because the pill had already taken effect.
Because he
It's already
used
done what he wanted
right,
him to-
but
wanted
he
it
got
to do.
beyond needing it as well.
Yeah,
This
but
is what
that's
I'm
not
saying.
where-
But
We're
getting
not talking
beyond
about
needing
me.
it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that you
You don't know. We don't
you got
know.
beyond the scope of what the pill gave
But
you.
we don't know.
No,
That's why it's my speculation. It's a speculation. I'm not saying it's a fact because it's a movie. So and I didn't write it, so I don't know what the writer had like. What he wants you. This is my interpretation
We get that.
of it. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that pill gave you limitless up until a point. But when you get to a point where you don't even need the pill anymore, you're past limitless.
No, that means you're just functioning.
You don't need
at
the
a
you
higher
just don't need the
level.
pill
You
anymore.
don't need the pill to do it anymore.
Right, because your brain, everything has changed. Now you have you're almost a new creation. Nobody in the world exists like you anymore, because nobody else has access to all of their brain, and
Okay.
nobody is seeing everything that came behind and seeing into the future. That's me.
That's where I disagree. I just don't
Yeah.
think they're seeing into the future. I just think that, like you keep saying they don't need the pill anymore. Yeah, that's right. They don't need the pill anymore because the pill has done everything that it's supposed to do, which is be allowing you to access every part of your brain. And once
the same level as when
once
you were
he
on
figured
the
that
pill.
out, he doesn't need the pill. Once he
the
figured
pill.
it out, he doesn't need the pill anymore because his brain is doing exactly what the pill has allowed his brain to do.
Right, but he figured that out.
But what's the point of you saying that? We know that.
His own intelligence was able to figure
No, but
out.
you're thinking, this is your thinking, that he figured out another level of the pill and the medication,
I think
which
another
makes him
level
see
of
into the
existence.
future. I don't think that's
Yeah.
true. I think he was able to make the pill not hurt him anymore, keep him at the same functioning level as when he's on it, but how he did that, we don't know, because the person who wrote it didn't put it in there. We just have to guess at how he did this. Like, he kept going through trials with that scientist and finally figured out how to maintain the same level he had when he was on the pill, but without taking the medication anymore.
Well, we will let you guys make the final decision. You let me know if you think that he could see into the future, like he said, or if it's just like he was just highly perceptive.
Let us know what you think, guys.
In the comments, or let us know any other
If you have any-
alternative theories you have about this movie.
Completely
It was
different from
fantastic.
anything that we've talked about. We'd like to hear
Enlighten us.
what you guys think. Tell us in the comments below.
we'll
And with
see
that,
you
we're going to wrap this up, and we
in
will
the
see you
next
guys
video.
in the next
See
one.
ya.
Bye, guys.